All right, there we go. Shy Guy, Rye Guy, this is a disclaimer to the original intro that we recorded.
Yes, sirs and ma'ams.
Yeah, throwing this on the front of it because we had this golden idea for the name of our podcast, and it's already copyrighted and already exists. Not only does it exist, it's actually a podcast.
Yeah, so it's not going to happen. So anytime we reference Party Chat Podcast, PCP...
It's 3 in the morning podcast.
Our new podcast, the name is 3 in the morning, hence what you're listening to on whatever platform you're listening to.
Yep.
Yeah, so just we decided we wanted to keep the original recording, keep it real, keep it raw, because, it was in the moment, our first recording ever.
Absolutely.
You might hear some shit in the background, you might hear some weird sounds.
Oh, yeah.
That's all a part of it, so we decided to keep it because we wanted to keep it,
Audio quality is much better now.
Yeah, you just wait till... you could probably hear it right now. You just wait till episode 1. Dog gets better and better.
We don't have his music in this first episode, but City Sun, right?
Yep. So you'll hear some intro and outro music. One of a good friend of mine. Shout out to Devin or City Sun.
We'll leave City Sun.
Yep. We'll leave links for them so you can check them out on whatever you're listening to, whatever platform on our social media. You'll see it.
Very talented motherfucker.
Amazing. So big shout out to him for
thanks
for producing this music from scratch and making it just absolutely sick and killer. We love it. So other than that, we're excited to have you listen. So let's
Yeah, the one other disclaimer I'd want to throw in, because I'm not sure if we did it in the first intro.
Yep.
The only things we would ever cut out or censor in our topics ever is stuff that we think would jeopardize the entire podcast. So, not that we'll never talk about it, but, current events right now. If somebody shares an opinion about the rioting or BLM, or Antifa, or about the transgender issues going on right now, or anything like that. Stuff that YouTube will get dictator about, we're probably going to cut that out.
And even then, if we don't have enough information about something, we can't sit here and just be super biased and,
Yeah, exactly.
Spectacle or whatever the fucking word is.
Yeah, if we talk about some really stupid shit and never fact check ourselves, we will either cut that out or put a disclaimer on it.
Yeah, we don't want to spread a big misinformation campaign.
Yeah,
that's not
exactly.
what we're here for. We're here to talk, we're having a good time,
yeah.
Talk about random shit, but if it gets to the point where it's a little bit, past what we deem as real in a conversation, it just gets too heated and too out there, we're just gonna, I guarantee that won't happen, but if it does, we will disclaim that for sure.
If somebody gets angry, though, we will totally put that in the bloopers video.
If someone throws punches over the table, that shit gonna happen. Exactly. Oh, you know what's about to happen.
But the whole point of the podcast is to be open-minded and freedom of thought and freedom of thinking, but obviously there are some limitations because of the platforms we post on.
Say whatever the fuck you want, but, that's how we roll.
Just not things that'll get us removed. We're not worried about demonetization. We're worried about getting banned. That's what we're worried about.
Yeah, because we want you to enjoy that. We want you to enjoy what we have. Yeah. We want you to listen. We want you to keep listening. We don't want to jeopardize, that being a possibility. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we're just gonna let it roll.
Yep.
So yeah,
I think that's it, right?
Yep.
All right,
you'll never hear. Also, disclaimer. I'll probably cut this out if we already talked about it.
What?
But if you ever hear a name, or you won't, there will be a blank spot. There will be a blank spot. There will be cutouts for names because anonymity is key within this podcast. So you can be open. All right. Well, that's it. So enjoy this intro. Here's the original recording. Cheers to whatever's in the background. Yay!
Well, this is the Shy Guy and Rye Guy podcast.
Yeah.
It's a
welcome.
Yep.
Something a little different. Something thought we'd try.
The Party Chat podcast.
Yeah, PCP, buddy.
Absolutely.
PCP.
You're doing your diabetes shit.
Yeah,
right
dude.
Now.
Sometimes you just gotta let the sugars ride.
Yeah.
And so you don't fucking die, but it's cool.
Oh yeah. All right.
I am dying a little bit, but that's okay. I brought a granola bar.
There you go.
Yes, sir. All right, cool. If you just want to talk about yourself a little bit, we can
talk about myself.
Yeah, we can just. maybe, or at least how we met. You can start.
Oh yeah.
Figure out how that went. Not to be obnoxious with this rapper here, but
the Shy Guy went to a private school for 3 years in elementary school, and it sucked ass. I went from first grade to third grade, and I met one of my classmates. I can't say his real name. I almost did that. I'd have been fucked. I met your cousin, and we were kind of friends. But honestly, he was part of a big group of people, and they all bullied me all the time.
Yeah.
And then I met you on Xbox, and from there, you joined my friend group on Xbox, and that's how it all started. And on the podcast, we're going to have a bunch of people from our friend group on because we all differ in political opinions and ethics and God knows what else. We argue about it a lot, and that'll be great.
Yeah, dude. I'm excited about it, honestly.
Absolutely.
And we can finish eating this.
Yeah, you finish eating your granola bar.
Fucking die. Fucking croak over on the middle of the podcast. That's fine.
Purpose of the podcast. I wonder if it just picked up my phone notification.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Raw.
But, fucking lamb sausage. Raw.
It's fucking raw. All right. So the purpose of the podcast, we wrote a few quotes while we were brainstorming what we wanted to do. It's a form of media without an agenda, and the reason it's without an agenda is me and Rye Guy actually disagree on a lot of stuff. You're making me want another Bud Light, but I got to drive home.
Yeah, don't be doing that, buddy. He can't be doing that.
It's a form of media without an agenda. We disagree on a lot of stuff, so we're not just pumping you one political opinion or one form of ethics. Mm-hmm. It's for freedom of speech, because like the way cancel culture and stuff works right now, we're trying to avoid that as much as possible, which is part of the reason we're keeping it so anonymous, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We want it as, well, frankly, I'm going to try to have Marxists and anarcho-capitalists and all the radicals and all the moderates on the podcast at the same time. We want everybody. We want everybody. Everybody we can get.
And it's, when we were really talking about this in the first place, it was extremely important to think about, we want all perspectives, and we want all perspectives to be listened to and be able to speak. Because,
absolutely.
Like we said, a form of media without an agenda. Yeah. Like, they try and silence other opinions. They try and silence other people from talking. They try and only let their bias show. And we don't want that. We want it as raw as possible. We want as many people to talk as possible. If we want people to come on here and feel comfortable to let their deepest thoughts out without them being something that's completely just silenced because they're afraid to say it.
Yeah, it's about the freedom of thought, and it's about the discussion. It's not about, we're not trying to convince the audience of anything. And that's the whole point. Do I have my own personal biases and agenda? Of course. I'm human. But that's not the purpose of the podcast. I mean... Right. That kind of gets rid of our only unique factor if I give it an agenda and try to
exactly
and try to push it on people.
Right.
I will defend my opinion when talking to the opposite opinion on the podcast, though, because that's the point. We're trying to debate a little bit.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
saying? Yeah. Mediate. Defend yourself.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Just kind of go with the flow.
Yeah, depending on the podcast and depending on the guests, me and Rye Guy might actually have to take a sideline position and mediate the conversation a little bit. Because if we got two guests that disagree heavily, we're not going to let it get violent or stupid.
Yeah, I don't want anybody punching somebody across the table here. Yeah. That wouldn't be fun.
That'd be entertaining for everybody else, but for us, that would be a horrible mess.
That'd be a horrible thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What else did I say? Oh, we really want to talk about the touchy stuff, even the evil opinions, or the super politically correct opinions. We want both. The idea is you can say whatever you want with little to no repercussion from society.
Exactly.
And that doesn't mean all opinions are correct or okay, but you should be able to talk about anything. Mm-hmm. So the only exception I'd say to those opinions that we're going to neglect is racism. Not that I wouldn't want to debate somebody on racism, because I'm not racist, but whatever platforms we're uploading this to would crucify us if we had a conversation
straight
about
up
that.
Crucifixion.
And that's why we're not going to do that.
And
that's probably the only subject we can't touch on.
We can
touch on it, but we can't have a fucking KKK member on the podcast.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, I'd love to debate a KKK member because he's fucking stupid in my opinion, but we can't do that.
Yeah, and racism can be a broad topic, but we know that anyone that comes on the podcast is not racist, but if they have crazy radical political or social views, then that's okay. They can talk about it. That's why it's
anonymous.
That's why it's anonymous. Yep. If someone comes on here and is truly they hate somebody, we can talk about it, but we don't condone that. We don't want that. We don't want that in society.
Not only do we condone it, after they say their piece, I'm going to try to convince them otherwise.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Yeah. There's certain things, we want people to have all perspectives, available, but we don't want hate to be spread because of people's views. Mm-hmm. And we don't want hate to be the center of it. And that would suck, if we talk about our strong beliefs and it comes off as something completely wrong, I mean, that's fine. You can believe what you want, but the core of the podcast is that it's not that way. It's that everyone has a voice and everyone has an opinion, but we can all still be best buds and be a community with that being said.
Absolutely.
And that's the whole point of freedom of speech, is that we can say what we want, but at the end of the day, we can go have a beer afterwards and not worry about it, or play a game together afterwards and not worry about it. And still have a good time.
It's the whole basis of our friend group. Our friend group, let's give them some information about our friend group. It's like 10 years old now.
Yeah.
It's long. Yeah. It's about 10 years old.
For sure.
We've all been living in the same area. We got to make sure we never talk about where we live on this fucking podcast. The funny thing is we've all lived in the same area for like the last 10 years. Yeah. And I'd say only in about the last like 4 to 5 have we really been hanging out in person and actually like talking to each other, because we all either went to different schools or there was too big of an age gap at times, especially with me and like Anthony and them, because I'm not going to go into my specific age, but we're significantly younger than everybody else in the group.
Yeah,
obviously. Other than that though, like the group's pretty strong. I mean, we could probably have some conversations about the group, especially if we got a Honey Badger on here. He's the de facto leader of our group, because he kind of
he may choose a different name. I mean, but right now it's Honey Badger.
That's his Xbox gamer tag.
That's the gamer tag. That's good.
If we get him on here, it'd be great to talk about the state of the group right now with him, because he's actually thinking about not renewing his Xbox subscription in the next
Really?
bit.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, and that sucks ass.
I mean, he's a staple in the friend group.
I knew him, and he's the one who originally got me in the friend group because he lived down the street from me.
Yeah,
while I was going to that shitty fucking private school.
I would never have met him if he didn't live down the street from you.
Yeah, actually, that all makes sense.
Because, you introduced him to me, so...
We've got a boy in New York who doesn't live near us, but he's visited us multiple times. Yeah. I'm not going to say where we are, because fuck off.
Because fuck off, you know?
But he's visited us multiple times.
Bro, fuck off.
And I met him on Halo Wars, actually. Lyric Carpet is his gamer handle. Yeah. What's cool is everybody's got like X's or numbers in their names, so we can say our Xbox handles and nobody's gonna fucking
no one's gonna find it. I mean, they could try.
Yeah, no, that ain't gonna happen. But I was in Halo Wars. I was like 12 years old or something, and I fucking went into game chat and was talking out loud in game chat, and Lyric ended up being in game chat too, and we got our shit kicked in Halo Wars, and it was awful. Yeah. But it turns out he was such a Halo fanatic that he fit into the group perfectly. So.
Yeah, it's kind of wild how the fact that some of the people that have been a huge part of our friend group were just by complete chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially Lyric Carpet, because, I mean, if it wasn't for that one game that you played with him, then he wouldn't have been a friend of ours to where he would come here multiple times and visit us. And we would just do a bunch of stupid shit together.
Has it been like 3 times that he's visited? 3, 4 times?
Yeah, I think it's been 3 times.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, that's quite a drive, and I love it when he comes. Too bad my football career was in the way of me ever fucking seeing him when he came over. I saw him once or twice. What was I going to say? Yeah, and we've the friend group, the Party Chat podcast group, the X-Bros is what we call it de facto a lot of the time, because Titan, that's what we'll refer to him as.
Yeah.
Titan was trying to keep our group together for a long time, and I don't think we give him enough credit for that.
Yeah, I 1,000%.
Yeah, he tried to keep the group together a long time, and he named it the X-Bros. And
that sounds a little porno-y.
Oh yeah, it absolutely does. It sounds like Ram Ranch.
Welcome to Ram Ranch. Oh yeah.
He tried keeping it together for a long time. It's not like we haven't lost anybody over the years. We lost a load of people. A guy named Get in My Belly, Dark Game Master. Who else did we lose? We lost King Derpington. He was like MLG.
Dude, I forgot about that guy.
He was MLG in Halo, because we all thought he was fucking lying, but then we watched one of his matches.
Yeah. They were like, oh,
he's actually an MLG player for Halo.
Yeah.
What else was it? We lost more people. Get in My Belly.
I mean, there were some like close friends that we knew in person too.
Really?
I mean, I didn't. At least that you went to. I mean, I guess that you went to school with. I mean, we would play with.
Who the fuck are you talking about?
You remember?
Like Xbox Gamertag.
Pop Babe Ruth and. I mean, that group used to be the cousin. OG when we were younger.
It really was. They were like the Halo Reach group before Honey Badger took over.
I mean, they came into. I mean, I don't know how much you remember, but they came into our group and like the clan that we made in Halo, they came into it and they were a huge part of it as well. And then everyone just kind of started to phase out, and then it kind of became a much more concentrated group to what it is today.
It did.
Which is the reason why we're thinking about doing the Party Chat podcast, is why it's happening now.
Because our friend group.
Because of our friend group.
Yeah, obviously someday we want to expand out to more guests than just our friend group, but our podcast technically doesn't exist at the time of this recording, so we can't
the preliminary.
Can't be doing any of that Joe Rogan shit where you get Bernie Sanders and Post Malone on the podcast.
Yeah.
Can't do none of that.
Yeah. The preliminary stuff, the introduction with the possible footsteps and the laundry going, but
absolutely.
The background noise, all that random shit, but it's a part of it,
Mm-hmm. But subjects we'll be talking about is it could be anything. It could be from theology, philosophy, video game news. Me and our friend Edgelord DJ, that's what his gamer tag is right now, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Edgelord, we share an Audible account, so we've been reading a bunch of philosophy-based books and shit lately. We might talk about that sometimes. Definitely,
for sure.
Definitely some serious economic politics, because I'm a fucking nerd when it comes to that. And which is funny, I'm a psychology major, and I love talking about economics because I'm bad at math.
Yeah. Suck at math, dude.
Oh yeah, I do. Shit. I really do. Fuck. But if there's the only agenda we would push at all on this podcast is freedom of thought, freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Even if you're wrong, it's up to other people with their freedom of speech to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
Not to make it illegal for you to talk about stuff, not to shame you into not talking about it. It's to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
And we're going to do our best to only have members of our group who are either up to change their mind or at least willing to see things from other people's perspectives.
Yeah, if you can't sit here and walk in another person's shoes for a second, then
you don't belong at the table.
Yeah, exactly.
This badass table that's covered in Game Informer magazines.
Yeah, dude.
Custom table because
fucking
Rye Guy pulled
epiphany
some creative
moment.
shit out of his ass.
Literally last night, epiphany moment. I was looking at a table and I was like, this shit's too loud. If you fucking flick it with a paper clip, this shit would be too loud.
Set a beer on the table.
Yeah, exactly. But so I was like, I need to put something. I was like, I need to put a blanket. I need to do something to kind of muffle a little bit and to kind of just give it some texture. And I was like, shit. I thought about it. I was like,
you put Game Informer magazines.
Yeah, I was like, I got a shit ton of magazines just stacked for no reason.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, let me just lay them out and make something out of it. So we just kind of threw it together. I don't know what game that. Honestly, I don't know what fucking game that is.
I think this is one of those IGN games that never got published.
I mean,
oh no, it's just an E3.
The Hot 50. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Oh yeah, fucking Fortnite on here. I don't play that game, but
Did you ever play Fortnite?
I mean, I did. I think everyone at least tried it once.
I'm talking about how we're going to talk about politics and theology and shit, but the whole basis
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, the whole basis of the podcast is our Xbox friend group. Of course, we're going to talk about video games at times, and you're going to hear me talk about Skyrim and Bethesdian RPGs more than anything.
I mean, that's the start of this whole thing.
Dude,
was the gaming. I mean, the gaming is literally the core of our basically our mission statement, our motto is shooting the shit with your buds at 3 a.m.
Absolutely.
When you're playing a fucking game and you're in a party chat full of 4 people, 8 people, whatever it may be, there's somehow a conversation will sneak its way in there where it could be some super serious political thing. It could be something theological, something universal.
It's not a somehow anymore. I do it on purpose.
You're the catalyst to the fucking, You're the catalyst to the conversation.
Every once in a blue moon when I join an Xbox party anymore, I just fucking immediately start talking about controversial shit.
I mean, but that's the thing.
I'm a sophist, man. That's all I can say.
When we talk about these things, it just comes up out of the blue, and it's raw, and it's something that's natural. It's something you could just kind of pop up a question hey guys, I got a question, and then we'll talk about it for an hour or two, and it turns into something more than just being in a party chat on Xbox, right?
Yeah.
And when we sat there and we thought about it, when we were literally just having those conversations, there were moments where people were like, "Why didn't we record this?" Why didn't we record this? Why didn't we? Why didn't we this conversation could have some value, whether it be to other people or to us in the future life. This conversation that we're having right now means a lot, and it's perfect. We should record it. Well, and that never happened until years later, until now.
Well, it doesn't. It doesn't help that a lot of our friend group has gotten fairly polarized.
Yeah,
about shit lately. Yeah. I mean, as time goes on, our friend group leans more conservative. It's not like there's no liberals in there. We do have a Marxist.
Fair, yeah.
I don't personally think he's all that good at defending his position yet. I need him to properly read the manifesto first.
Yeah.
Because, like, in my heart, I'm a fucking capitalist wasteland kind of guy. But in my political opinions and how I handle things, I'm way more center, and I believe the policies that are in my heart would totally leave the downtrodden and poor and lower intelligence people, they would get fucked. And so I don't believe in that utopia. I gave that up. A few years ago, I absolutely believed that I could have my objectivist capitalist utopia. It's not a thing. It doesn't exist, and I believe that now. But my anarchy capitalist system self have read the manifesto, and our Marxist hasn't read the manifesto yet. Mm-hmm. He needs to do that. And I'd love to have him on the podcast after he does that and can defend his position a little bit more. That's the thing.
Like, even if you completely disagree with him for his beliefs, like,
We're want him. Friends.
Want him to defend himself.
Yeah.
If he has a viewpoint, you want him to be able to defend it correctly.
I actually find myself defending his ideology when our friends gang up on him a lot of the time, because it's like I like the diversity of ideas, even though his ideology kind of hates me. Every fabric of my being. I'm an industrious, capitalistic kind of guy. Marxists hate me, dude. But I mean, not that. Shark, he doesn't hate me on a personal level, but ideologically he does.
Yeah,
and he's still my friend at the end of the day. And I actually want to foster his political opinions and make him stronger overall. Mm-hmm. And Rye Guy's mom is in the room. It's great.
Sorry, guys.
No, that's okay.
Oh my god.
It's raw.
It's fucking raw. Yeah. I mean, yeah. For sure. You want people to defend themselves regardless. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Even if they disagree with me. Absolutely. Yeah. It's not about tribalism. It's about exchanging ideas and testing them against each other, and that's what's more important than anything.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You got anything else you want to add?
I mean, at the end of the day, that's the whole point of this conversation, this whole podcast is like, we're sitting here and, we have people with so many different viewpoints, and hopefully we'll have viewers of so many different viewpoints.
If we get any viewers at all.
Exactly.
We're going to be modest about this.
We're going to be modest.
Assuming this works out.
Even then, we want people to feel like, regardless of what their opinion is, they can preach it and they can have a conversation, but still have some best buds at the end of the day that completely disagree with them on a political or ideological level.
And we're going to keep it civil, so it's actually exchanging of ideas and not a screaming fit.
Yeah.
Not whatever the hell you call political debates these days on Fox News or CNN type shit.
That is my biggest pet peeve, is when people talk over somebody.
Oh yeah.
Like when they're literally just shut somebody down because they don't agree with what they're saying. That just irritates me. Like, I understand, like, you can disagree with somebody, but being open and listening to them so that they can finish their sentence is just needs to happen. It's a matter of respect,
absolutely.
And it's horrible that became a norm today.
It is.
It's just shutting people down because they're talking about something that you don't agree with.
There's no discourse or debate happening. There's no battle of ideas. Instead, it's literally just yelling at each other. It's we should raise taxes to help people. No, we should lower taxes to help people. And just saying that over and over and over again at each other doesn't fix anything.
Exactly.
It doesn't fix anything at all. Like, I listen to Ben Shapiro sometimes, but I don't like the way he debates. I agree with some of his opinions. I'm not really a hardcore conservative, in all honesty, because that's just not how I view policy.
I agree.
But he, how do I explain it? The way he shuts people down instead of viewing the merits and negatives of every conversation bothers me. Now, there are some platforms where he views both. On his Sunday specials, he views both. And when he goes on the Rubin Report, Dave Rubin, who's a liberal, he will see other perspectives. I watched Shapiro and Jordan Peterson talk about theology one time, and that was the most riveting conversation I've ever seen. I mean, it's some real nerdy shit. For the average Joe, he wouldn't enjoy that conversation very much. But for me, I was like... It was Jordan Peterson, who I actually think is an atheist in terms of faith, but believes in Christian moral values, especially modern ones, versus a hardcore Jew. Like, not a derogatory term Jew. I mean, like, just so hardcore, straight out of Israel Judaism believer. You know what I mean? And their conversation was awesome. It was super intense, and it never got heated in a negative way. They were super civil about it, even though they disagreed on so much. I mean, the fact that Jordan Peterson believes in Christianity at all is a disagreement with Ben Shapiro's way of thinking, just because Judaism doesn't think Jesus was the Son of God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's a huge disagreement. And disclaimer to anybody listening, assuming anybody listens, I don't really think Jesus was the Son of God either. So Rye Guy, on the other hand, has different theological beliefs, and we disagree on that, and we're civil about it.
Yeah, I mean, I was raised on Catholicism. You know,
I was too.
It's huge. I mean, it's huge. Like, I mean, at least where we live, like, Catholicism is a big thing. Like, our families, it's just something that you get instilled at a very, very young age before you can even make your own, like, judgment to where you remember it. Like, it's just what it is. You are born into Catholicism, and that always happens. Usually. I would say that's the vast majority. Yeah, the vast majority of the time you're born into Catholicism, and you start with it from as far back as you can remember. But in that time,
Shark was with it too.
Yeah, I mean, he's
a straight up atheist. I wouldn't call myself an atheist.
Yeah,
but Shark doesn't believe anything's out there.
Yeah, I mean, like, flowing into it, like, the more and more you learn about, like, Catholicism or any religion, you start to pick apart the pieces. Well, yeah, you start to learn, you start to see the smaller and smaller details that people on the outside don't really see. And for me, the more and more I learned it, it's not that it drew me away from it. It's that it allowed me to think about other perspectives too. And I think about such nitty-gritty details, and I see the super biased people who are 150% faithful to Catholicism, and I see their way of thinking sometimes, and it's like illogical. Like they get so far-fetched.
How about the rich elitists that you see in church sometimes? Yep. Yeah, that's my dad growing up. He kept trying to make me go to church every Sunday, and it didn't help that I already had doubts about whether or not the God that Catholicism reveres even exists. Right? I had doubts about that, so that made it hard to go to church at all because I felt like I was wasting my time.
Yeah.
But when I went there, and it really felt like it was a room full of hypocrites and elitist kind of people, that really pushed me away from it. I agree with Christian ethics mostly, very similar to a Jordan Peterson perspective on Christian ethics and stuff, but it sure as hell shouldn't be involved in governing anything. Ever. Yeah. Shouldn't be involved in governing things. Shouldn't be in charge of controlling your money unless you donate to them, obviously. And it shouldn't determine law, nothing like that. Yeah. It's totally a personal relationship thing, in my opinion. That's when Christianity is personal. Christianity is at its best when it's an individual relationship, not when it's a militarized community.
100% agree.
That's how I feel. And
that's what it kind of drew me towards, is the fact that I believe in, that personal relationship that you have with whatever you believe in. If you believe in just something spiritual, if you believe in an afterlife,
I'm not an atheist.
If you don't believe in an afterlife, if you believe in, I think it's important to believe in something. I think that everybody believes in something. They just sometimes deny the fact that they do.
Yeah, even if it's not a mystical faith, at least admit that the reason humans exist is because an alien probably jerked off in space, and that fell to this rock of a planet. Yeah, exactly. like to say that we came from nothing.
Yeah,
I think is idiotic on a scientific level.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't have to be a mystical god.
Logically
guy.
Makes no sense. Yeah,
like logically and statistically, it makes more sense that we're like an alien nature preserve, and that's why we haven't made contact and shit, than it does that we came from nothing.
Yeah.
And people who are atheists and then also believe there's no aliens, I'd like to debate that person because I don't. That's stupid.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
That's stupid.
You don't believe that
mathematically speaking.
You don't believe that there's a higher power or higher intelligent life.
But you don't believe that intelligent life can exist anywhere else in the universe?
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
You believe in aliens, but you don't believe in a higher power.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless of if it's God, if that's, the justification, or if it's, some future beings of us that's in another dimension or something, whatever it may be,
Well, I argue with my father about this shit a lot, because it's not that he says aliens don't exist or anything. He just can't get over the how haven't we met them yet debate. And I'm like, well, first off, a lot of people don't consider, what if we're the first?
Yeah.
So, like,
it could be
if alien civilizations exist, that means at one point there had to be a first alien civilization ever.
Yeah.
There had to be a number one. there's a chance that could be us, and we are alone in the universe. I think that's statistically pretty unlikely.
Agreed.
But there's a bunch of theories about it. We got to have a different episode about that shit, though. We can't.
What's funny?
I can talk about it for hours.
What's funny is that we're talking about the perfect transition into the next episode.
Are you able to edit it so it's just the next episode?
I mean, shit, no. But here we go. But the thing is as we're talking about this, it's perfect because, we're introducing ourselves. We're talking about some like snippets of our beliefs. And our first episode is going to be about that universal aspect. Yeah. It's going to be about things, on a universal level, on a psychedelic level, on, we could bring up the fact of DMT.
In my notes here, episode 1, DMT, universe, psychedelics.
It's fucking perfect. Yeah. Hopefully we'll have one of our best buds on there as a guest because he's a perfect speaker of this. He loves the universe. He loves all that stuff.
He's going back to university soon, though. That's
I know. We're going to have to somehow work that in, but,
we could change that from episode 1 to a different one.
I mean, yeah. And
when he comes back on like a school break or something, we can
matter. Hopefully, in this introduction,
figure this
that is episode 1 because it might not be episode 1, but it should be episode 1.
I feel like I need to do some more research on psychedelics and stuff.
And I don't mean
take psychedelics. I don't take psychedelics. Yes, I'm sure.
The shy guy ain't so shy anymore, buddy.
The reason I don't fuck with psychedelics isn't because I'm not curious, because believe me, I am so goddamn curious about psychedelics, and I would take them if I didn't think there was permanent. There's permanent change after that, and I kind of really like my mind the way it is now.
There's damage there. There will be damage there.
I don't know if it's always damage. A bunch of people come back from psychedelics if they do it moderately, especially if they do it like once. They're a different person. I met a guy who cured his lifelong stutter because he took this type of psilocybin mushrooms. He took psilocybin mushrooms and came back from a lifelong stutter. It no longer exists because he like rerouted
It's crazy.
The neurotransmitter, not neurotransmitters. That's the wrong term. The neural pathways in his brain. That's the correct term.
That's the crazy thing about
psychedelics. In his left temporal lobe.
The thing, like, I could do universal stuff. Like I could talk about. Literally anything that we have planned, I could talk about.
We gotta try to be really diverse with what we talk about, though, as we come up with episodes.
I want to bounce around.
If we only talk about one thing, like if it's only politics, if it's only economics, nobody's gonna want to.
I want to bounce around because this isn't meant to be a political podcast. This isn't meant to be an economic podcast. This isn't meant to be
an everything podcast.
It's meant to be what I said earlier.
It's the stupid conversations you and your friends have when you're high on pot eating pizza or when you're up till 3 a.m.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's those conversations that just kind of keep flowing into something more than what... Like, you could literally be playing, like, anything.
It's always Skyrim. It's always Skyrim and Fallout. I start talking.
I'm always playing, like, fucking Grand Theft Auto now. That's all I play. Yeah. But, like,
Escape from Tarkov.
No Russian.
Anyway... Playing that.
We play these games and then we just start talking, and then it could flow into something completely unrelated, but
it's the beauty of it all.
It's the beauty of the conversation.
That makes making episodes kind of difficult though, because
that's the point. It's meant to be like a continuing conversation. How are we gonna have an episode about one thing because people like Joe Rogan have it kind of easy because he interviews people. And if they have a subject they're talking about, that's only one aspect of the 3-hour-long podcast. Yeah. In our situation, what we're trying to do, because we have a very limited number of people we can have on the podcast, what we're trying to do is have a specific subject per podcast. And as anybody listening can already tell, we fall off the track pretty it's
fucking
perfect,
hard.
Though. It's normal. If you think about the natural flow of conversation, you have to, like... It doesn't just stay stagnant. Like, you can't say in one fucking topic the whole time, or else it's not a natural conversation with somebody.
That's why TV political debates are fucking stupid. They're stupid. I'm just saying.
Yeah. And that's okay. I mean, that's kind of like what we're here for. We're here to have that conversation and talk about our beliefs as well. Absolutely. But we're also here to mediate and kind of draw it back in the right direction. I like to think of it as like waves.
Yeah,
and it's not something that's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be a straight line, or it's not something like a fucking rocket that goes way out of nowhere. It's something
which is what's going to happen if we ever have memory is the key on the podcast.
Exactly, and it's supposed to fluctuate. You're supposed to talk about in that middle ground is the main topic that we're talking about, and it can flow upwards into something different, and it can flow downwards into something completely unrelated. But it always goes back to that middle ground to what we're talking about. We will get our main message across, and the people that we have, hopefully we can kind of get their main belief out as their main argument, and we can go from there. But I think, honestly, we want it to be the wave thing. I mean, that's the whole goal.
Well, so I was thinking this whole time about who we can have represent the left. There's more people in the X-Bros who represent the left than we give it credit for.
Yeah.
For starters, I mean, there's Shark. I don't think he's got his not research. Research is the wrong term. I don't think he's got his argument together yet. I'd love to have him on the podcast after he does.
I just need a quick clarification on Marxism. So that's left?
Yes.
But is that more fascist or is that down?
It depends on which nation you're talking about.
I don't know where it falls on a political compass.
There's so many different versions of Marxism, which is weird. Neo-Marxism, new Marxism, postmodernist Marxism believes in social anarchy, but command economy.
Okay.
So it's like it's progressive social values where socially you do whatever you want, basically.
Economically, you don't.
Economically,
that makes a lot more
shit's
sense.
Provided for you. It's a welfare state. You got real high taxes, assuming you have a paycheck at all. Because if the Marxists are doing it the right way from their perspective, this is me trying to speak for somebody else the best I can.
Yeah, no, I got you.
If they do it correctly, then there's no need for money because resources are plenty enough. trying to fucking rip a paper. There we go. The resources are plenty enough that everybody's provided for. Everybody's given shelter. Everybody's giving health care. And that's mainly what they're going for. Now, if you look at Stalinism, which was a form of Marxism, that's just fascist dictatorship. I mean, people want to call him a normal socialist lefty as much as he wants. Other than the fact that the government controlled everything, he was really just a fascist dictator. He's hardly any different from Hitler and Mussolini.
Oof!
Yeah, they were almost the same thing. It really depends on what you talk about. In Karl Marx's Marxism, it's really just about taking the proletariat, the working class, and overthrowing the bourgeoisie, the rich. There's so many. Chinese Marxism is the government controls everything, but they're willing to use their enemies' tools against them. So because the government controls everything, they control all the private business, and they use free economy private business to try to outperform United States and other free world companies and stuff. They try to use it to outperform and sell to other places, which is why we don't have Huawei phones. It's like the second largest cell phone company on Earth. And we don't even sell them here in the United States because we're like, fuck that, the Chinese government makes it.
I'm not that. I don't want that shit.
I don't blame them for not wanting that at all. Fuck that. And there you go. That's another episode we can talk about, the different versions of Marxism. Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. Oh, but I was Titan and Coltrane could represent the left pretty good.
Yeah, socially, actually, they have, yeah.
Socially, Coltrane, I mean, I don't have to be worried about calling him Cole because in his gamer tag, it's Coltrane. You know what I mean? Cole, socially, he would be great representing the left. He really runs that way. Economically speaking and foreign policy and more nitty-gritty stuff, we'd want Titan. And he's researched on it. And in political conversation, he's really civil, actually. And it's really great to talk to him. The only thing that pushes his buttons is when you label him things he's not. So when I used to call him a commie all the time before we had an actual commie, dude. Yeah, he didn't want to talk to me all that much. That was back when I was a child.
Back in the day.
Yeah, man.
More
squeaker than I am now.
Shit, touched
on lots of subjects.
Anything we missed? Is there anything before we flow into that?
Look at the notes right
before we flow into that first episode here. I just want to make sure everybody understands that our whole goal here is to have
freedom of speech and ideas.
Freedom of speech is probably the number one. The motto, or whatever you want to call it, is shooting the shit with your buds at 3 a.m. Absolutely. A real conversation with real topics, with real back and forth chemistry.
Not fucking edited either.
No, exactly. Fucking 10 minutes ago, we had a guest appearance of somebody that was completely unexpected.
Your mom.
My fucking mom, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, the whole goal is to, a form of media without an agenda. To be raw, to just talk and have a conversation. That stuff that spawns and starts from nothing.
Absolutely.
And explodes into something very cool and has some serious value.
And when we have conversations and there's disagreements, it is a debate. It is a battle. I
like that.
Debacle.
It's a fucking debacle.
Yeah, it is a battle of ideas. However, instead of it being a gladiatorial arena, which is what we see in politics today, which is just asinine and stupid, it is much more a duel, take 10 paces in each direction, and then fire at each other and see who lands a shot.
Yeah.
And it's not attacking personal character or anything. It's just ideology or ideas versus each other. We should write down in the notes that I want to reconstruct the fucking the educational system. We should have a podcast about
Let me
that.
get my fucking notepad, dog.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna reconstruct education.
All right.
Writing that down. I spelled it wrong, but it's fine. Reconstrust. That's what I wrote. That's what I fucking wrote.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening to the introduction.
I mean, you'll probably hear more of our opinions as we go on, but we just kind of wanted to talk about the mission, the purpose.
If we ever don't have guests, it'll just be me and you talking.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just be talking about random shit or something on topic, something not on topic. We just want everyone to feel as welcome as possible, and regardless of the beliefs that some people have, you just kind of got to take it as a grain of salt and listen to them.
Absolutely.
And then, respond. See their side of things and
really
listen.
Walk a mile in other people's shoes.
Yeah, I mean, I try to be friends with everybody. And, regardless if that's a good thing or a bad thing, everyone has their viewpoints. Everyone has their own history. Everyone has their own lifeline or their lifetime.
Like Shark, he's a Marxist because he's subject to an internet monopoly.
But you don't, regardless of where you come from, you have a belief, and that should be heard, and that should be listened to, regardless of if I believe the same thing or not. I could care less, or I could care a lot. It doesn't matter. And that's where we want to go with this. Is we want to have our best buds on here talking about shit that they would not feel comfortable saying to anybody else but us.
Absolutely.
At 3 a.m. in a party chat on Xbox playing a game,
and anonymously.
Exactly. I mean, if they feel comfortable enough to say what they want and say their name, then go ahead. But we're staying our way.
Cole's kind of fucked because in his game
we're just gonna.
Cole.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of
train.
fucked. He kind of fucked that up in the first place. But we hope that you can seriously enjoy what we talk about. Regardless of what the topic is. We want to make it something that feels supernatural because it is.
Absolutely.
Not supernatural, but super space natural.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Natural as possible. Keep it raw. Keep it real. And that's about it, honestly.
This has been the Rye Guy and the Shy Guy.
Hell yeah. I fucking love that, dude.
Yeah, we didn't think about that sounding like that. That's kind of